These Dreamcatcher earrings are a lot of fun to create because you can make all sorts of color combinations. I have some laid out here in gold and silver, and today we're going to create the second one of this, the gold earring, and we're going to use a 25 millimeter circle as well as a 4 millimeter centerpiece. Now this can be either a pearl or a crystal, whatever you choose. And we have some 4 millimeter bicones, and we'll use some 11-0 seed beads to make the second Dreamcatcher earring. I'm going to use beading thread with this instead of Fireline, and I'll show you why. I made this set with Fireline, so if you look at the fringe, it doesn't move very easily. It's a little bit stiffer. But if you look at this one, which was made from beading thread, it moves a lot easier. So we'll continue by using the beading thread instead of using the Fireline. Since this uses a lot of different colors, I'm only going to lay out the colors for the section we're going to do. And we're going to start on the center. So we need the blue, the yellow, and the orange beads for the centerpiece. I'm going to use 82 inches of beading thread. Now, if you don't like using such a long piece of thread, you can do this in two sections. You can do the center and then the beads around the outside and then add thread to do the actual fringe. And we start by picking up 16 of our centermost color beads. All right, we've got 16. I'm going to bring them down, and I want to leave probably about 8 inches of thread, 8 to 10 inches of thread, so that I can add this center bead a little bit later. So we come back through the 16 that we just put on. And we're going to create a loop. I'm just going to pull this a little tighter there, and I'm just going to bring this around and not actually create a whole knot, but just half a knot, just so I can tighten that. Now we don't want to start exactly, I want to bring this tail down to the outside, so I'm just going to flip that down outside. Now I don't want to start exactly where this tail is, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up 2 beads. It takes a while to pull the thread through because I'm using a long thread. Now, if you were making, we're going to do the yellow circle, but we also want the peach colored beads in the center. If you were doing all yellow, you'd pick up 3 yellow, but we're going to pick up a yellow and a peach and another yellow. We're going to go in the bead that we just came out of and through the next 2. And we're going to repeat this and go all the way around. So we pick up a yellow and a peach and a yellow, and we go in the bead we just came out of and through the next 2. And this is, now finish the rest of going around in the circle, and I will do the last one when we come back. Now we have one more set to put on, so we're going to pick up a yellow, a peach, and a yellow, and we're going to go through the bead we came out of, through the next 2, which is actually going to be the underneath the first 3 beads that you put on. We'll come all the way through. And now we want to go up the yellow bead right above where your thread's coming out. So you want to go up the bead right above where your thread is coming out. So you should be here. Now we're going to begin to put our crystals on. So I'm going to bring them over here. And we're going to pick up one of the crystals and then one of the little end pieces. So we're using peach for the end. Bring them all the way down. And we're going to go back through the crystal. And we're going to go through the yellow bead next to the one that we're coming out of right here. Let me zoom in for you. So that's where we're going. And we want to make sure that this comes down straight. It's a little twisted, so we'll pull it straight. There we go. Make it nice and tight. Now we want to go through this blue bead and come back up the yellow that was on the other side, like so. Now we're going to pick up another green and another peach. And we're going to go back through the green and through the yellow. And you can generally get through the blue one in all one stitch. But you can't wrap around to come back up. We have to come back up through this yellow bead. So that's generally a second step. And I'll do one more, and then you finish the row going around. So you pick up, just remember when you pick these up, that when you pick up the two bead, to bring them down and go back through the crystal. Because I can't tell you the number of times I forgot to go back through the crystal, and I hurried up and went through this yellow bead, and I had to take it out. So you go through the two. And then we come back up. There. And we'll just finish going all the way around. We're going to add the last crystal now. So we pick up our green crystal and our peach bead. And we bring them all the way down. And then we're going to go through the crystal and the yellow bead next to it, next to the one you came out of, and then the blue, just like we did for the others. And you're going to just pull this down. Make sure it's nice and tight. And then we're going to go back up this yellow bead right here through the crystal and through the orange bead. And we're going to stop at this point, and we're going to put the center bead in. I've thread a smaller needle on the tail thread, and we're going to put our 4mm bead on. So let's pick up the 4mm bead and bring it down. Now I'm going to zoom in so you can see where this thread's coming out and where we need to go. So let me zoom in. There we go. So the thread is coming out right here under this crystal. And we want to find the same spot on the opposite side, which means we want to be right here under this one. So we're coming out of this one this way, and we want to go across underneath the same. And when we come through, we're going to pull this through. And then I'm going to go through again. And you can see that attached here. And I want to then enter this bead from the opposite direction where the first thread is. We'll go through here, and I'm going to go through one more time. So we're going to go through the bead, and we'll go to the other side. And then I'm going to go through the center bead again and the one next to it. I'm pulling this tight so that the thread doesn't show. And then I'm going to go underneath the threads between these two beads. And I want to pull this up. I went underneath the thread between the two beads. I'm going to go through the loop. So I'm going to make a little knot that will secure itself down there. And I'm going to repeat this over here. Again, I'm going to come through. I'm going to go underneath these two beads. And I'll go through this loop. And make sure you don't catch any of the other beads. I'm going to make a knot. And now I'm going to go through 3 beads. Through 3 beads. Come through. And now I can cut off. I've got 2 threads in there. There we go. And now I can cut off the remaining piece. Now our next step is to add the ring. And we're going to attach our piece that we've just made to the ring. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So your thread should be coming out of the end of one of the peach beads. And we're going to take the ring and we're going to place it over the piece on your hand. And you're going to go, now you've come out of the bead in one direction. You can see where the thread's coming out. You want your thread to be underneath the ring. And you're going to go over and back through the same direction you just came out. So you want to go over and through the same direction, in the same direction. And you form one loop. Now you're coming out and you're on the top. You're coming over the ring. So you have to go under, take your needle and go under it and go back through in the same direction, the same spot where the thread is coming out. And you pull. And that forms this nice little set of loops here. So you have the 2 loops holding the bead so that it doesn't slant, it stays nice and straight. Now we're going to go down and do the next one. So we're going to go down the bead, down the crystal, down to the yellow bead. Now you can actually tighten that a little bit. So give it a little tug. We're going to turn around and we're going to go up this one, this yellow bead, and through the crystal and through the peach again. So we come through. Now our thread is over the ring, so we have to go under and through the same, through where the thread is coming out. I'm just going to go under, and then where the thread's coming out, we're going to do this. We're going to go through the one bead, That will form the first part of our loop. And now we have to go under and back through the bead where the thread's coming out. So when you do these, two things to remember. If your thread is on top, then you want to bring your needle under. If your thread is underneath the ring, you want to bring your needle over so that you make the connection with the loop. Second thing is you want to go into this bead, your end bead, in the same place where your thread's coming out. So we're going to do one more, and I'm going to go down, and I'm going to go through the yellow bead again. I'll go through the crystal, through the yellow bead. Now I'm going to turn this around so you can see, and so I can see. And we're going to go up the yellow bead, through the crystal, and if you don't make the peach bead in the first try, just go through the crystal, and then you can go through it separately. There we go. All right, now thread is coming over, so we have to make a loop. We have to go under, and we go in the same direction. We go into the bead, the same place where the thread is coming out. There we go. First loop, and now we have to go back. Now we go under, and we go through the same spot the thread's coming out. If we only made one loop, the bead would lean to the side of the thread. So you need to make do both sides so the bead stays straight. The thread goes on either side, and now the bead stays like this. It's not twisting or turning over or leaning. And again, we go down the crystal and the yellow bead. And once you get down the yellow bead, it's a good time to give a pull and tighten this up so that it'll tighten up where you just made the attachment. And then we're going to go back up the yellow and the crystal and the peach bead. There we go. And we're going to repeat these steps until we go all the way around. I'm going to do the last connecting point here. So I've got one more to put in. So we're going to go up the yellow bead like we had been doing, and through the crystal, and up through the peach bead, and then come round in the same direction, go back in the same spot where the thread's coming out, thread is over, so we go under and we go through where the thread's coming out. All right, we've got the last one connected. We still want to go down through this crystal and down through the yellow. And we're going to come back up, go down through the yellow and back through the crystal. We'll come up and then through the peach color, and go through the peach color going in this direction. So when you look at the peach color, enter from the right and move to the left. Now we're going to put our white beads around the outside of our ring. So we'll need some white beads. And this, many of you may have done this before. This is just the typical putting two beads all the way around. So I'm going to pick up two of the white beads. I'm going to bring them all the way down. Now I want to anchor these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go in between these gold threads. So I want to go above the peach color one, in between the two gold loops. And I'm going to come around this way, come up, and they should drop like this. You're going to go through the first, or the second bead, the closest one, and then come back down. This is going to make them stand up. If you don't do these 2 extra steps, and then we'll go back up, these won't stand upright. They'll kind of slant. And now we're ready to put on more. Now we're going to count, and we're counting the bead that the thread's coming out is number 1. We're not counting the first one we put on. We're counting this one as number 1. We're going to put 4 more beads on, and when we get to the 5th one, we're going to anchor it in this point, just like we had done, or just like I did a minute ago. So I'm going to just put them on one at a time. And you could go, and you grab it in the same direction the thread's coming out, and pull. We'll do that one more time, and pick up a white bead. Let it drop down, go under, and then go back in the same direction the thread came out, and pull. And then pull and let it seat right next to the other one. So we have 1, 2, 3. This will be number 4. And the reason we want to count these evenly is because if we just went by whenever we got there, these would be unevenly spaced. So your points would not be evenly spaced around the entire ring. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, we're on number 5. So we pick up number 5, and we bring this down. And we're going to go now through above the peach bead and between these 2 gold threads, between your 2 threads that you made your loop to secure the bead. You're going to pull this, and you want to go into this bead in the same direction that your thread is coming out. Now you move this over there. You want to move this over so that these don't have spaces between the 2. And we start counting again. So we count the next one as 1. And we go through, and we're going to go in the same direction the thread came out. And this will be number 2. All right, now this should be number 5. So we do 1, just count right after the peach. 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be number 5. And with number 5, we're going to go through between these 2 gold loops. Sometimes it's easier to see if you hold the ring a little sideways and look at it from the side. So we'll go through there, bring that up. Now continue around the circle until you get to this one, because you're not going to have enough space for 5 in the last ring. We're actually only going to put 4 in there. So I'll come back and we'll finish the last piece. We're down to our last segment now. And remember I said earlier that we're not really going to have room for 5 beads here. We're going to add 4. So let's proceed to start adding. So we'll have 1. All right, so we've added essentially 3. Remember we have this 1/4 one we didn't count, but you'll see there's not enough room really to put another one in. So we're going to just close this up, and we do this by coming down. Now we're going to have to come back up the back side of this because this is leaning forward, so we're going to try and make that not lean forward. So the first thing to do is come down. Come down the 1 bead. Okay. Now I'm going to bring this behind. I'm going to bring the needle behind, and I'm going to turn this over. And I want to pick up that 1 bead I just went through, which is right here. And when I bring the stitch up on the back side, you'll see that it'll now stay in line with the other beads. So while we're here, what we're going to do is we're going to add our ring. We'll add the closed jump ring, and I'm going to do that by going down. I put the jump ring on. I'm going to go down the bead next to it, and I like to go through so I have three runs of thread through here. So the first time I'm going to come back up and then I'm going to go through again, and then I'm going to come down, but this time instead of repeating that, I'm going to go through this peach bead one more time. Then I'll come back up, and then I'm going to go across and come down again. And when I come down this time, this will make the third thread going through the closed loop. And I'm going to want to get down to this area. In fact, I want to get down to this bead so I can start putting my fringe on. So I'm going to go through the peach bead again, and then through the green and the yellow, and then I'm going to start weaving my way down. So I'll go through the blue ones, so I go through 3 of these blue ones, and I'll go through 2 more blue ones. So I'm going to come out right and through this. I'm going to go through the 2 blue ones. I'll do this in steps. You can actually do this in one motion. So we're going to go through these 2 blue, and then the yellow, and the green crystal. And we want to end up on this bead, because what we're going to do is, and I'm just going to turn this around, we're going to start building the fringe from this side. So if we look at this, we'll use this as the center bead. We want 9 fringes, which means we need 4 on each side if this is the center. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll come down and we'll build until we get to this one. So if I'm going to do that and I want to come out this on this bead, then I want to go through this peach color bead in this direction. That'll bring me right underneath the bead I want to go through. If you go the other way, you're going to end up over on the wrong side. And the next one we want to go through is right here. So you can see we're going right next to the peach. And now we're going to start building our fringe. I've laid out the beads that I'm going to use, and I'm going to go in this pattern. So we'll have 2 white, 2 green, 1 white, 3 peach, 1 white, 2 blue, 1 white, 3 yellow, white, blue, white, peach, white, green, and then 3 on the end. And I'm going to show you how to make these cute little ends. So we start by picking up 2 white, then 2 green, and we always put a white in between the colors. So we have to put a white, and we'll pick up 3 peach and a white, and then we pick up 2 blue and a white, and then we pick up 3 yellow and white. Now we're reversing the pattern. It'll be 2 blue, white, 3 peach, white, 2 green, and 3 white. So it should look the same as what we have here. So we're going to bring this all the way down, and we're going to go in, back up, starting with the first green bead. So if we take, I like to lay it flat just to run back up. I find it easier to do it down on a table as opposed to holding it in my hand. So I'm going to run this back up through here, through the 2 white ones, and I want to get back through that white one on the ridge that we started with. So we're going to pull this down and give this just a little pull, and they generally snap into place. This one did not. So since this one didn't, we'll give that a little help. We'll pull on the middle white bead, give it another pull, and there, it makes your nice little finished end. So we're going to do another row. We got to go down to the next bead. So we go down the bead next to it. I'm going to lay it down again. And we're going to repeat the pattern. One, 2. Now we do a white. Remember, we do a white between each color. White. We have blue, white, and then we're going to do 3 yellow, white, then we do 2 blue, white. Now once you get one of them on, when you do the next one, you can kind of check it against the one that you've already done. So we need 2 green. And we're getting a little long here. I'm going to bring them down, and then I'm going to put my 3 white ends on. So before I snake back through, I'm going to do this. and make sure that they're the same, and they are. So now I'm going to bring this needle back up through. And through the bead that's in the on the ring. And then we give a little tug, and these are being a little stubborn, so we're going to go to this white bead here in the center white bead, and we want to just take our needle and we'll pull that out, yeah, like that. And we're going to repeat this. You're going to go 9 times all the way around this way, and when we get to the last one, I'll come back and show you how to finish this off. We've put on our 9 rows of fringe, and we've ended right here, this white bead right next to the peach colored one. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to finish this off, and I'm going to bring this thread up the one next to it and then down, and I'm just going to weave my way up and down until I get to the next peach bead. So we're going up and down through the white beads. And we'll come up on the one at this side. Excuse me. And then we're going to come down this white one, and I'm going to go through the peach and through the green. Now the reason I went over to the second peach bead instead of coming down here is we've zigzagged through here enough times that we can bring this down. We don't have to make too many knots. So I'm going to want to go under this yellow one, go through the yellow, and I'm going to make my first little tie off. So I'm going to go around here. I want to go under the threads between the yellow and the blue. And then I'm going to just pull that. And then I'll go through the blue. I'll go through 2 blue. Now if you want to make the bead a little bit tighter, you've come out right at the same spot as the bead. So I'm going to run through this bead one more time. Pull it tight. And I'll go over to the other side of the bead. Tighten that up a little bit. And we'll go through two or three beads. I happen to go through 3. So I'm going to bring that through the 3. I'm going to do that little knot thing again. Whoops, fell off the needle. And now, bear with me, I'm going to just put this back, thread back through the needle. And we'll go through 2 more beads, and then we're going to clip the thread. Scissors. And all we need to do now is to put the little hook on the ring. So this is your final earring. I hope you enjoyed. If so, please like and subscribe.